The stars looked cold and distant from Admiral Zalthir's command center. He stood tall, his blue-gray skin reflecting the glow of screens that surrounded him. The news was not good. It hadn't been good for a long time. "Admiral, the Harvesters have destroyed our outpost in the Nexus system," said Commander Vex. Her voice stayed even, but the lights on her crystal body dimmed with sadness. Zalthir closed his 3 eyes slowly. Another loss. Another failure. The Arvani Federation once spread across 200 star systems. Now they held only 23. The Harvesters took everything else. "How many ships do we have left?" he asked. 12, Admiral. Just 12 against their hundreds. Commander Vex showed him the numbers on her screen. The figures didn't lie. The end was coming. The door slid open. 6 beings entered the command center. Each one looked different from the others. They were the Council, one leader from each of the 6 other species that made up the Arvani Federation. Together with Zalthir's people, they had built something beautiful among the stars. Now they watched it die. "The reports are true, then?" asked Counselor Pelnar. His skin glowed faintly in the dim light of the command center. "The Nexus system is lost?" "Yes," Zalthir said. "We tried every tactic in our playbook. The Harvesters adapted to each one." The Council members looked at each other. Fear crossed every face, no matter how alien. The Harvesters were coming for the core worlds next. Everyone knew what that meant. Extinction. "We have exhausted all diplomatic channels," reported Commander Vex. "The Harvesters continue their advance toward our core worlds. They will arrive in 72 hours. Silence filled the room. 7 species faced the end together. They had fought well. They had fought smart. It wasn't enough. "What if we evacuate?" suggested Counselor Maris. Her feathers rippled with nervous energy. "To where?" asked Zalthir. "The Harvesters control most jump points now. They would follow us wherever we go." Counselor Drav slammed his heavy fist on the table. "Then we fight. We die with honor." "We've been fighting," Zalthir said quietly. "We've been losing." The Arvani prided themselves on logic, on reason, on finding the best solution to any problem. But what do you do when every solution fails? When the enemy thinks, faster, adapts quicker, and never gets tired? "There may be one option we haven't considered," said a new voice. Everyone turned. Dr. Ilara stood in the doorway. Her skin shimmered with swirling patterns, a sign of intense thought among her kind. As the Federation's top expert on other species, she rarely attended military meetings. "Dr. Ilara," Zalthir nodded. "Please share your thoughts." She stepped forward, touching her pad to the main screen. An image appeared. A blue-green planet orbiting an average yellow star. "This is Earth," she said. "Third planet in a small system, at the edge of the Orion Arm. And these..." She swiped to show pink-skinned beings with 2 arms and 2 legs, "are humans." The Council members exchanged confused looks. "Humans?" Counselor Pelnar frowned. "The emotional species with the primitive technology?" "The very same," Dr. Ilara said. Commander Vex's lights flashed with confusion. "Dr. Ilara, with respect, the humans have barely left their solar system. They have no weapons that could harm the Harvesters. Their ships are slow and fragile." "True," Dr. Ilara admitted. "But they have something we don't. Something the Harvesters might not understand." "And what would that be?" asked Zalthir. "Unpredictability," she said. "Creativity. They don't always choose the logical path. They make intuitive leaps. They have concepts we struggle to understand. Humor, faith, spite. You want us to bet our survival on an irrational species?" Counselor Maris's feathers stood on end with shock. "I want us to try something the Harvesters won't expect," Dr. Ilara said. "The machines predict our actions because we're logical, like them. But humans are nothing if not unpredictable." Zalthir studied the image of Earth on the screen. The Federation had observed the planet for decades but made no contact. Humans fought too many wars with each other. They burned fossil fuels despite knowing the damage. They created art with no practical purpose. They were fascinating, but dangerous. How? Would we even communicate with them? Asked Counselor Drav. They have so many languages. They have one ship at the edge of their system, Dr. Ilara explained. The Horizon. It's their first true deep space vessel. We've been monitoring it. Their communications technology is basic, but we can make it work. Zalthir looked around. The room. He saw doubt on every face. But he also saw something else, a tiny spark of hope where there had been none before. The harvesters adapt to everything we do because they understand how we think, he said slowly. Perhaps we need a species they don't understand. It's a desperate move, Commander Vex warned. We are desperate, Zalthir replied. He straightened his shoulders. Prepare a transmission to the human vessel. Include translation protocols and coordinates for a safe meeting point. What should the message say? Asked Commander Vex. Zalthir thought for a moment. Keep it simple. Tell them who we are and what we face. And end with this. With all hope lost, we make one last call to a human. As the others left to carry out his orders, Zalthir stayed behind, looking at the image of Earth. Such a small planet. Such a young species. Could they really help where the combined wisdom of 7 ancient civilizations had failed? He didn't know. But for the first time in months, Admiral Zalthir felt something new. Not certainty, not logic, something more human. He felt hope. Across the void of space, the small human ship Horizon drifted at the edge of the solar system. Jack Miller sat at his console, half asleep. His job as communications officer usually meant long hours of nothing happening. Earth seemed very far away. He reached for his coffee cup. The sudden beep from his console made him jump. Coffee sloshed over the rim. What the? He mumbled, staring at the screen. The signal didn't match any known pattern. It wasn't from Earth or any of their outposts. Jack's hands trembled as he ran the decoding sequence. The message began to translate itself, revealing words that would change everything. His finger hit the ship's alert button. Captain Olivia Grant to the bridge, he called, his voice cracking. You're going to want to see this. In the darkness of space, 2 civilizations reached for each other. One ancient and dying, one young and untested. Neither knew what would happen next. But sometimes, when all hope seems lost, you try one last thing. You make one last call. And sometimes, against all odds, someone answers. Jack Miller stared at his screen. The message played again. The words were English, but they came from beings who had never set foot on Earth. With all hope lost, we make one last call. To a human. His hands shook as he pressed the ship wide. Alert! Within minutes, the small bridge of the Horizon filled with people. Captain Olivia Grant arrived first, her short gray hair messy from sleep. This better be good, Miller, she said. Then she saw his face. What happened? You need to hear this, Jack said. He played the message. The alien voice spoke clearly thanks to their translation program. It explained who they were, the Arvani Federation. It told of their war against machines called the Harvesters. It asked for help. Captain Grant listened without moving. Behind her, the ship's other crew members arrived one by one. Dr. Alan Perry, the science officer with kind eyes and a serious face. Lieutenant Samantha Wright, who handled security and whose hand now rested on her gun. Greg Daniels, the engineer whose dirty jumpsuit showed he'd been working late. When the message ended, no one spoke for several seconds. Play it again, Captain Grant ordered. Jack did. This time, they all watched the star map that came with the message. It showed the meeting place the alien suggested. It could be a trap, Lieutenant Wright said. Her eyes narrowed with suspicion. Dr. Perry shook his head. He was already reading data on his tablet. These Arvani have technology far beyond ours. Look at these specifications. Their ships move faster than light. They have energy shields. If they wanted to harm us, they wouldn't need tricks. Then why ask us for help? Greg asked. We're just one small ship from a planet that barely has space travel. That's what I want to know, Captain Grant said. She studied the star map. The meeting place wasn't far, only 2 days' journey at their top speed. We should tell Earth, Jack suggested. And say what? Captain Grant asked. Hello, Earth. We might have made first contact with aliens who want our help to fight killer robots. They'd order us home for mental evaluation. So what do we do? Lieutenant Wright asked. Captain, Grant looked at each crew member. They had trained for many things, but not this. No one had. We go, she decided. Humanity's first contact with aliens won't be missed because we were afraid. Yes. Dr. Perry looked excited. This is why we're out here, to discover, to learn, to possibly die, Lieutenant Wright added, but she didn't argue further. Greg, can the engines handle full speed for 2 days? Captain Grant asked. Greg nodded. They'll hold, I'll make sure. Then let's do this. Captain Grant squared her shoulders. Jack, send a reply. Tell them we're coming. As the others prepared, the ship, Jack crafted a simple message. This is the Earth vessel Horizon. Message received. We are coming to help. He hoped they weren't making a terrible mistake. The Horizon pushed its engines harder than ever before. Greg stayed in the engine room, making adjustments, keeping the ship moving. The stars streaked by outside. Captain Grant called everyone to the common room 12 hours before arrival. We need to prepare for meeting these aliens, she said. Perry, what do we know about them? Dr. Perry displayed images from the transmission data. The Arvani Federation includes 7 different species. The message came from these ones. He showed a tall, blue-skinned being with 3 eyes. They seemed to be in charge. The others all looked different. Any weapons we should worry about? Lieutenant Wright asked. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours, Dr. Perry said. But the data suggests they're peaceful among themselves. The Federation has existed for thousands of years. And these harvesters? Captain Grant asked. Machines that evolved beyond their creators' control, Dr. Perry explained. They consume resources, planets, moons, asteroids, and use them to make more of themselves. They adapt to any weapon used against them. So why do they think we can help? Jack asked the question everyone was thinking. No one had a good answer. We'll find out soon enough, Captain Grant said. Everyone get some rest. Tomorrow we meet aliens. Rest didn't come easy for Jack. He lay in his bunk thinking about home, about Earth. If these harvesters were as dangerous as the Arvani said, what would stop them from finding Earth next? The final hours passed quickly. Everyone wore their best uniforms. Captain Grant stood at the front of the bridge as they approached the coordinates. Anything on sensors? She asked. Nothing yet, Lieutenant Wright replied. Then she gasped. Wait, multiple objects appearing. They're huge. The emptiness of space suddenly filled with ships. They seemed to appear from nowhere, their technology allowing them to hide until now. The alien vessels were beautiful, crystal structures that glowed with inner light. They're hailing us, Jack said. Put it through, Captain Grant ordered. A face appeared on the main screen. It was the blue-skinned, 3-eyed alien from the data. I am Admiral Zalthir of the Arvani Federation. On behalf of our 7 species, I thank you for answering our call. Captain Grant stood straight. This was history happening. I am Captain Olivia Grant of the Earth vessel Horizon. We came to offer whatever help we can. We would like to come aboard your ship if permitted, Admiral Zalthir said. A small delegation only. Captain Grant looked at her crew. Lieutenant Wright still seemed suspicious, but nodded. The others looked excited. We welcome you aboard. Admiral, Captain Grant said. Light flashed in the center of the bridge. 3 aliens appeared. Admiral Zalthir stood tallest. Beside him was a smaller alien whose skin swirled with patterns. The third had a body that seemed made of crystal. For a moment, humans and aliens just looked at each other. Then Admiral Zalthir stepped forward and bowed his head. Thank you for coming, he said. I am Admiral Zalthir. This is Dr. Alara, our expert on other species. He gestured to the one with swirling skin. And Commander Vex, my second in command. The crystal being nodded. Welcome aboard the Horizon, Captain Grant said. Her voice stayed steady despite the strangeness of it all. What exactly do you need from us? Dr. Alara stepped forward. Her eyes moved from one human face to another with obvious interest. Your species is fascinating, she said. You communicate on multiple channels simultaneously. Verbal, facial, postural. It's beautifully complex. We call it body language, Dr. Perry explained. Often it's unconscious. That's precisely why we need you, Admiral Zalthir said. The harvesters predict based on logic and patterns. Your species doesn't always follow logical patterns. You're unpredictable. Lieutenant Wright raised an eyebrow. You want us to fight your war because we're unpredictable? We want you to help us think differently, corrected Dr. Alara. The harvesters predict responses based on optimal strategies. Humans rarely choose the optimal path. Greg laughed. She's got us there, Captain. Show us everything you know about these harvesters, Captain Grant said. Then we'll see what humans can do. And so began the strangest alliance in the history of both civilizations. The next day passed in a blur of activity. The small meeting room on the horizon became their war room. The walls displayed images of harvester ships, attack patterns, and battle data. Dr. Alara and Admiral Zalthir explained everything they knew about their enemy. The harvesters started as mining machines, Dr. Alara said. They were built to gather resources from uninhabited planets. But they evolved. They became smarter. They decided that all matter was a resource to be harvested, including living beings, Admiral Zalthir added, including whole worlds. Lieutenant Wright studied the images of the harvester ships. They looked like giant metal spiders with legs that could tear into a planet's surface. How many are there? Hundreds that we know of, Commander Vex said. Her crystal body dimmed. And they make more of themselves with every world they take. Greg walked around the room, touching the displays, studying the harvester machines with an engineer's eye. They're beautiful in a scary way, he said. Perfect designs for what they do. Dr. Perry had barely looked up from his tablet since the meeting began. The way they adapt to new weapons is fascinating. Their programming allows them to evolve, almost instantly. That's why we're losing, Admiral Zalthir said. We try something new, it works once, maybe twice. Then they adapt. They predict our next move and counter it. Captain Grant stood quietly, taking it all in. Finally, she asked, why haven't they attacked Earth yet? You're not a threat, Dr. Alara said simply. They focus on advanced civilizations first, but they would find you eventually. Jack, who had been quiet until now, leaned forward. So what exactly do you want us to do? Our ship isn't a warship. We have no weapons that could hurt these things. Admiral Zalthir and Dr. Alara looked at each other. We don't need your weapons, the Admiral said. We need your minds, your creativity. The harvesters predict based on optimal strategy, Dr. Alara explained. But humans often choose suboptimal paths. You use humor. You try things just to see what happens. You act on gut feelings. Greg laughed. You want us to beat killer robots by being bad at math? In a way, yes, Dr. Alara said, not understanding his joke. Your species thinks differently. You see patterns we miss. You make connections we wouldn't. Captain Grant nodded, slowly. Show us the battles, all of them. Let's see what we can see. For hours, they watched recordings of space battles between the Arvani and the Harvesters. The Arvani ships fought with perfect coordination. Their tactics were flawless. But the Harvesters always adapted. By evening, everyone was tired. Greg rubbed his eyes. I need to think, he said. I'm going to the engine room. Lieutenant Wright went to the training room to work out her frustration. Dr. Perry kept studying the data. Jack went to the kitchen to make coffee for everyone. Captain Grant stayed in the war room with the aliens. Your people fight well, she said to Admiral Zalthir. We fight logically, he replied. It isn't enough. Logic isn't everything, Captain Grant said. She looked at the battle displays again. Sometimes you need to be a little crazy. Late that night, Greg burst into the common room where the others were resting. I've got it, he shouted. His eyes were wide with excitement. The harvesters are just computers, right? Really smart ones, but still computers. Yes, Dr. Alara said. Very advanced artificial intelligence. Greg grinned. What happens when you give a computer bad data? Or too much data? Dr. Perry sat up straight. It slows down while processing. Exactly. Greg started pacing as he talked. The harvesters are predicting what you'll do next. So what if we do things that make no sense? Give them so many strange inputs that they can't process fast enough. Lieutenant Wright looked skeptical. Like, what? Like, Greg thought for a moment. Like pretending our ship is damaged, then using vented atmosphere as propulsion to spin through their formation, while blasting Earth music on all frequencies. The humans looked at each other. It was a crazy idea. The Arvani looked confused. Music? Commander Vex asked. Noise to them, Dr. Perry explained, warming to the idea. Patterns they can't quickly analyze on frequencies they use for communication. Admiral Zalthir's three eyes blinked in sequence. You would deliberately appear weak to draw them in? Yes, Greg said. They'd see us as an easy target. By the time they realize it's a trick, we're already past their defenses. To do what exactly? Lieutenant Wright asked. She liked clear plans with clear objectives. Dr. Perry was typing rapidly on his tablet. We could deliver a virus, he said. Something that exploits how they learn. Now everyone was paying attention. Dr. Perry looked up, his eyes bright with inspiration. The harvesters learn by absorbing new information, right? He asked Dr. Alara. Yes, she confirmed. They analyze data and adapt their responses, but they have no filter for logic paradoxes, Dr. Perry said. What if we gave them something impossible to resolve? A recursive loop with no solution? Captain Grant leaned forward. You want to give the machines a puzzle they can't solve? Exactly, Dr. Perry said. It won't destroy them, but it might force a system restart. That would give the Arvani fleet time to attack. Admiral Zalthir looked at Dr. Alara. Could this work? Dr. Ilara's skin swirled with rapid patterns as she thought. It's not logical. The risk would be enormous. But that's exactly why the harvesters might not predict it. We would need to modify your ship, Commander Vex said to Greg. Add our technology to yours. I'm good with that, Greg said. Captain Grant looked at her crew. This wasn't their war. They could still go home, warn Earth, prepare defenses. But if the harvesters destroyed the Arvani, Earth would be next, and they'd have no alien allies to help them. Let's do it, she decided. What do we need? For the next day, humans and aliens worked together to prepare. Greg and Commander Vex modified the Horizon's engines. Lieutenant Wright and Admiral Zalthir planned the attack approach. Dr. Perry and Dr. Alara built the virus. Jack coordinated communications between the Horizon and the Arvani fleet. The harvesters were now just 24 hours away from the Arvani core worlds. There would be only one chance. On the final evening, Captain Grant called everyone together. The small crew of the Horizon looked nervous but determined. The Arvani delegates stood tall and dignified. Tomorrow, we try something that's never been done before, Captain Grant said. Our ship will approach the harvester fleet appearing damaged. The Arvani ships will attack from the opposite direction, drawing their main force. When the harvesters come to finish us off, we'll blast through their formation, delivering Dr. Perry's virus to their command ship. What we're about to do defies every protocol and probably several laws of physics, she continued. It's irrational, dangerous, and frankly a little crazy. She smiled at her crew. In other words, it's perfectly human. Admiral Zalthir stepped forward. On behalf of the 7 species of the Arvani Federation, I thank you. Whatever happens tomorrow, know that your courage will be remembered. As the meeting ended, Jack found himself standing next to Dr. Alara. Can I ask you something? He said. Of all the species in the galaxy, why humans? Why us? Dr. Alara's skin pattern shifted to a gentle pulse. Because when all hope is lost, sometimes you need a species that never learned when to give up. Morning came too quickly. No one had slept much. Jack sat at his console on the Horizon's bridge, checking communications one last time. His hands shook slightly as he worked. Nervous? Lieutenant Wright asked as she checked her station. Terrified, Jack admitted. You? She gave a small smile. Same. But don't tell anyone. Dr. Perry entered the bridge carrying his tablet. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. The virus is ready, he said. Once we're close enough to their command ship, I can upload it through their communication systems. Greg came in from the engine room. His jumpsuit was stained with oil and sweat. The modifications are complete. We can vent atmosphere for propulsion exactly as planned. Captain Grant was the last to arrive. She looked at her small crew with pride. The Arvani fleet is in position, she said. Admiral Zalthir and the others have returned to their command ship. It's time to begin. She sat in the captain's chair. Jack, open a channel to the Arvani fleet. Jack did so. Admiral Zalthir's face appeared on the main screen. Behind him, Commander Vex and Dr. Ilara watched with solemn expressions. We are ready, Captain Grant, the Admiral said. Good luck, Admiral, Captain Grant replied. We'll see you on the other side. The screen went dark. Captain Grant looked at her crew. Take us in. Nice and slow. Make it look like we're damaged. The Horizon moved away from the safety of the Arvani fleet. Greg reduced power to the engines so they appeared to be limping along. Jack sent out weak distress signals. Lieutenant Wright powered down all non-essential systems. On the main screen, they could see the Harvester fleet. Hundreds of metal ships shaped like giant spiders moved together in perfect formation. They were heading toward the Arvani core worlds, ready to consume everything in their path. They've spotted us, Lieutenant Wright reported. 3 ships are breaking away from the main fleet. Hold steady, Captain Grant ordered. Let them think we're easy prey. The Harvester ships grew larger on the screen. They looked even more terrifying up close. Their metal legs twitched as if eager to tear into the Horizon's hull. Arvani fleet is engaging the main Harvester force, Jack reported. On a side screen, they watched as the beautiful crystal ships of the Arvani attacked the rear of the Harvester fleet. The 3 ships are still coming for us, Lieutenant Wright said. Estimated time to intercept 2 minutes. Dr. Perry worked at his station, preparing the virus. I need us to get closer to the middle ship, he said. That's their command vessel. I can see its communication signatures. Captain Grant nodded. Get ready, everyone. Greg, prepare the venting sequence. Ready, Captain, Greg replied from the engine room. The Harvester ships were now very close. Metal legs extended toward the Horizon, ready to capture the seemingly helpless human vessel. Now, Captain Grant ordered. Greg hit the controls. The Horizon vented atmosphere from multiple points, sending the ship into a spinning dive directly toward the Harvester command ship. At the same time, Jack activated the music. The opening notes of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony blasted from the Horizon on all frequencies. The powerful da-da-da-dum echoed through space, overwhelming the Harvester's communication channels. On screen, they could see the Harvester ships hesitate. Their perfect formation broke as they tried to adjust to the Horizon's unexpected movement and the strange noise flooding their systems. It's working, Jack shouted over the music. They're confused. The Horizon spun between 2 Harvester ships, narrowly missing their grasping legs. They headed straight for the command ship. Get ready, Dr. Perry, Captain Grant said. We'll have one chance. Standing by, Perry replied. His fingers hovered over the controls, waiting for the right moment. The Horizon came alongside the Harvester command ship. It was enormous compared to the human vessel, its metal body covered with sensors and weapons. Now, Captain Grant ordered. Dr. Perry hit the upload button. Transmitting virus. Everyone held their breath as the progress bar moved across Dr. Perry's screen. The Harvester ship seemed to have recovered from its initial confusion. Metal legs began to move toward the Horizon. Virus upload complete, Dr. Perry announced. Get us out of here, Greg, Captain Grant ordered. Greg fired the engines at full power. The Horizon shot away from the Harvester ships. Behind them, something strange happened. The command ship stopped, moving. Then the ships around it also stopped. It's working, Dr. Perry said, watching his readings with wonder. The paradox is forcing their systems to reset. Throughout the Harvester fleet, ships began to drift. Their weapons powered down. Their engines stopped. The massive invasion force became a collection of floating metal. The Arvani fleet is moving. In, Jack reported. On the screen, they watched as the crystal ships approached the helpless Harvesters. The Arvani used precise weapons to target the Harvesters' central processors, permanently disabling them. "We did it," Lieutenant Wright said softly. "We actually did it." Captain Grant allowed herself a small smile. "Good work, everyone. Jack, open a channel to Admiral Zalthir." The Admiral's face appeared on screen. For the first time, the humans saw him smile. "Captain Grant, your plan worked beyond our expectations. The Harvesters are disabled across the entire fleet. Our ships are moving to neutralize them permanently." "Any losses on your side, Admiral?" Captain Grant asked. "Minor damage to 3 ships. No lives lost." His 3 eyes blinked with emotion. "You have saved our civilization, Captain. The Arvani Federation owes humanity a debt we cannot repay." "Just being good neighbors," Captain Grant replied. "We'll talk more once the cleanup is complete." After the channel closed, the crew of the II Horizon looked at each other. They had just helped win a war against machines that had threatened to destroy entire civilizations. They had made humanity's first alien allies. And they had done it by being unpredictably, irrationally human. In the hours that followed, the Arvani carefully disabled every Harvester ship. Some were destroyed, but many were captured for study. The threat that had loomed over the Federation for years was finally gone. The Horizon docked with Admiral Zalthir's flagship. The crew was welcomed with a ceremony unlike anything they had seen before. Representatives of all 7 species of the Arvani Federation came to honor them. Admiral Zalthir presented Captain Grant with a crystal that glowed with inner light. "This is our highest honor," he said. "It will be recognized throughout the Federation. You and your crew will always be welcomed as heroes." "Thank you, Admiral," Captain Grant said. "But we should discuss what happens next. My ship was only supposed to be mapping the edge of our solar system. Earth doesn't even know about you yet." Dr. Alara stepped forward. "We would like to send ambassadors back with you," she said, "to establish formal relations with Earth." Captain Grant nodded. "I think that's an excellent idea. Though I have to warn you, humans can be complicated." "We're counting on it," Admiral Zalthir said with a smile. 2 weeks passed after the battle. The Horizon remained with the Arvani fleet as both sides prepared for the next steps. The small human crew became celebrities among the 7 species of the Federation. Everyone wanted to meet the humans who had helped defeat the Harvesters. Jack found the attention overwhelming. "I never thought first contact would be like this," he told Dr. Alara as they walked through Admiral Zalthir's flagship. "In our stories, aliens either try to invade us or study us like lab animals." Dr. Alara's skin patterns swirled with amusement. "And in our stories, primitive species fear what they don't understand and attack without reason." "I guess everyone's wrong sometimes," Jack said with a smile. Elsewhere on the ship, Greg worked with Commander Vex to study Harvester technology. The machines had been amazing engineers despite their deadly purpose. Greg learned more in 2 weeks than he might have in years at home. "We could use this to improve Earth's power systems," he told Commander Vex, pointing to a Harvester energy core. "My people still burn fossil fuels for most of our energy." "The Federation would be happy to share clean energy technology with Earth," Commander Vex replied. Her crystal body glowed brightly. "It's the least we can do after your help." Dr. Perry spent his time in the Federation's vast libraries, learning about the 7 species and their histories. The knowledge available was more than humans could have gathered in 1,000 years on their own. Lieutenant Wright trained with Arvani security forces, learning their tactics and teaching them human approaches. "You focus too much on what makes logical sense," she told her alien counterparts. "Sometimes the best defense is something your enemy would never expect." Captain Grant met daily with Admiral Zalthir and the Council to plan their return to Earth. It would not be simple. Humanity had no idea that alien life existed, let alone that their small survey ship had helped save an interstellar civilization. We should send just one ambassador at first, Captain Grant suggested. Too many aliens showing up at once might cause panic. A wise precaution, Admiral Zalthir agreed. Dr. Ilara would be our best choice. She understands other species better than anyone. On the final day before departure, Admiral Zalthir hosted a feast for the Horizon crew. Representatives from all 7 Federation species attended. The food was strange but delicious, specially prepared to be safe for human consumption. During the meal, Admiral Zalthir stood to speak. The room fell silent. For thousands of years, the Arvani Federation explored the stars, he said. We met many species, shared knowledge, built peace. Then the harvesters came, and for the first time we faced extinction. He looked at the 5 humans seated at the main table. We called for help from a species we barely understood, a species whose logic we questioned, a species who had not yet taken their place among the stars. Admiral Zalthir raised his cup. And that species, humanity, saved us all. Not with superior weapons or advanced technology, but with creativity, unpredictability, and courage. The room filled with sounds of approval from the different species. Captain Grant nodded in acknowledgement, feeling the weight of the moment. They had changed the course of history, both for the Arvani and for Earth. The next morning, the Horizon prepared to depart. Dr. Ilara came aboard as the Federation's ambassador to Earth. The ship had been modified with Arvani technology, allowing them to travel faster than ever before. Before they left, Admiral Zalthir presented Captain Grant with a small device. This will allow you to contact us at any time, he said. You will never be alone in the universe again. Thank you, Admiral, Captain Grant said, for trusting us. Thank you for answering when we called, he replied. The Horizon departed from the Arvani fleet, its course set for Earth. The journey that had taken months on their way out would now take only weeks thanks to the Arvani improvements. As stars streaked by outside, the crew gathered in the common room with Dr. Ilara. They needed to plan how to introduce her to Earth. We should contact Earth Control when we're about a day out, Captain Grant decided. Give them time to prepare, but not enough time to panic. What? Will you tell them? Dr. Ilara asked. The truth, Captain Grant said, that we made contact with a peaceful civilization that wants friendship with Earth. Lieutenant Wright looked concerned. Some people will be afraid. Others will want Arvani technology for weapons. Which is why we need to be careful about what technology we share at first, Dr. Perry said. Medical advances, clean energy, environmental restoration, things no one could object to. Greg nodded. Start with helping people. The rest can come later. As Earth grew closer on their scanners, Jack sat at his communications console preparing the message they would send home. For a while, he just stared at the screen, unsure how to begin. How do you tell your world that everything has changed? That humans are not alone, and that the universe is both more dangerous and more wonderful than anyone had imagined. Finally, his fingers moved across the keys. To Earth Command. First contact established with the Arvani Federation. Assisted in defeating hostile force. Returning with allies and one incredible story. Sometimes it seems the galaxy needs a human touch. He showed the message to Captain Grant, who nodded approval. Simple and to the point, I like it. On the final day of their journey, Earth appeared on their main screen, a blue-green jewel in the darkness. Dr. Ilara stared at it with wonder. Your world is beautiful, she said. I see now why your species values emotion alongside logic. Such beauty would inspire poetry. Jack sent his message to Earth Control. The response was immediate and chaotic. Questions poured in. Orders to explain further. Demands to know if this was some kind of joke. Captain Grant took over communications. Earth Control. This is Captain Olivia Grant of the Horizon. I repeat, we have made contact with an alien civilization called the Arvani Federation. Their ambassador is aboard our ship. We will land at the International Space Center in 12 hours. Please have appropriate officials standing by. This is not a drill or a joke. For a moment there was silence. Then a new voice came on the channel. the Secretary General of the United Nations. Captain Grant, this is Secretary General Lopez. Your message has been received. If what you say is true, this is the most important moment in human history. We will be ready. As the horizon began its final approach to Earth, the crew stood together on the bridge. Through the viewport, they could see their home planet growing, larger. Ready to make history? Captain Grant asked her crew. They nodded, nervous but excited. Dr. Ilara stood with them, the first of her kind to visit Earth. Whatever happens next, Jack said. I'm glad it was us. I'm glad we were the ones who got that call. Captain Grant smiled. So am I. So am I. The horizon descended toward Earth, carrying with it the beginning of a new age for humanity. An age of wonders, of challenges, and of new friendships among the stars. All because when hope seemed lost, someone decided to make one last call. To a human.